Clip one. Hi guys, I've been seeing something incredibly concerning on the internet lately from some people that I really respect, and it's reposting and following and being taken up by this Teal Swan movement. You might have heard of her. She's kind of a vlogger, kind of a self-help guru. She teaches classes and weekend retreats, and she promotes, like, self-care and therapy, which all sound really good. So I'm here to tell you why she's really bad. But before I get started, because this is going to be a long haul and I am already tired of her shit, I'm gonna get another beer. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is, you know what? I can't talk about this first. Okay. Because it's the worst thing. Okay. I, looked at the article and was like, oh, this is what this is. Alright. So, one of the fun things I have come across while scrolling through her website, I do not have the premium version of it. There is a premium version. Great way to make money. Just make them pay for more content when you already have hundreds of hours of content online. Not knocking content creators, but a lot of her content is incredibly repetitive, and I can't imagine that her premium content is that much more insightful. She's a really fun article called What Every Woman Should Know About Men. And one of the beginning sentences to this article, not the first sentence, but the second paragraph, is, as a woman, you have got to make space in your life for a man to fulfill a purpose in your life and to have a place in your life. The women's rights movement undeniably benefited women in many ways. If you could go back and watch men and women in the society before the 1960s, you'd understand exactly what I mean. However, whenever there is a movement of rebellion, the pendulum tends to swing to the opposite extreme and thereby ends up doing as much damage as it does good. This is what happened with the women's rights movement and the changes in attitude relative to the sexes that it spearheaded. Because of the pain women experienced at the hands of men, whether they could recognize it in themselves or not, the reality was that there was hatred of men embedded in the movement. This article essentially goes on to be the ultimate form of gender essentials. And there's actually another article called What Every Man Should Know About a Woman, and it's basically the opposite of this. But she has this base theory about gender that really, formatively stands on there are things women can do that men cannot do, and there are things men can do that women cannot do. And therefore, you will need someone in your life to balance you out. You are not complete without an opposite person of an opposite gender. Which is fun, because later I'll address her having sympathy for gay people. But that's my first complaint. Alright, so, this next thing is a clip that she's posted on her public Instagram. It's about a 3-minute clip of her speaking at one of her workshops in Chicago. And it's about family trauma.
It's like, I mean, how many of you either are gay or have gay friends? Okay, so this, everybody goes through this type of experience in their own way. But we can look at the LGBT community for how this works. When a little kid who's from the Midwest in a Christian family says, I'm gay, the universe basically puts that kid in that family to put everyone else in the family in a choice point. Am I going to choose love or am I going to choose not to love? That is my choice now. So it's like you're turning up the heat. And your family needs the heat.
Okay, so did I hear her right that gay children are intentionally placed into homophobic Christian families in the Midwest so that their families can decide if they choose love? Gay children are a lesson? She goes on later in the video to say oh, this doesn't necessarily mean that the parents will choose love. It just means they'll be placed at a choice point. So essentially, children are being put in positions where they have to suffer, be potentially kicked out of homes onto the streets, be essentially excommunicated from religious communities and churches into states where there are no resources for them, so that their parents have the opportunity to maybe learn about love. That doesn't seem like a great mentality. That doesn't make me thrilled about being gay. And that definitely doesn't empower me about being gay. You need to be quiet while we film. Another lovely thing that Teal Swan does is she hosts these 4-day trainings where she teaches you this process called the completion process. It's a 4-day training, and after the training, you are supposedly certified to walk other people through their childhood trauma. It's essentially trauma therapy, and trauma therapy is something that you really, really need to be qualified to do. It is like really unsafe to do trauma therapy when you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Because bad trauma therapy is actually incredibly liable to create false memories. It is a heavily documented phenomenon via the Satanic Panic, think McMartin preschool case, that if you talk to someone and you pressure them to remember a memory before the age of 6 to 8, depending on the person, they will make shit up. Because our memories are, like, not that good. The memory is a faulty thing. And if you're talking to someone and you are not a therapist that knows how to walk them through this, and you're just saying, because what the completion process, what she trains you to do, is she says, if you have a feeling now, say you walk into a room and it was you weren't supposed to go in there, and you said something stupid and now you feel shame. She says that's connected to trauma. So you should remember a time when you were younger and you felt shame. So she forces you, not she, but whoever's doing this process on you and doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, they're gonna tell you to remember a time before the age of 8 where you felt shame. And you're gonna start making shit up, is the thing. Because you get forced to think of younger and younger memories. And here's the deal. This is basically auditing. This is what Scientology does. This is why Scientology is bad. You create false memories, e.g. Ingrams, if you will have that L. Ron Hubbardism. And you essentially, this is a documented phenomenon, that people will have full, what they think are legitimate memories of their grandfather raping them. And it will later be proven that that is completely impossible. People have come up with memories of being raped by family members who died before they were born because they were pressured during sessions like auditing, and the completion process is essentially watered down auditing. Teal Swan is creating fake trauma in her followers' lives. All right. So, this is the worst one. I haven't by any means gathered all of the dirt on Teal Swan. I've really only been trying to dig up dirt on her. And by dig up dirt, I mean I've been reading her official website. Let me make that clear. I haven't gone to anything aside from her official Instagram and her official website. So I'm not trolling the internet, digging up dirt. I'm not an investigative journalist. These are things just she is posting that she thinks she wants to put out there, that she wants people to read and see, that she has been stamp my name on this, publish it. I wrote it. So I haven't digged up all the dirt. But the worst thing that I've dug up, and I think you'll agree with me, it's the worst. I have a very personal beef with alternative medicine, but I still think you'll agree with me that it's the worst. She kind of doesn't believe in cancer. And she's got a really, really unique method of how you should treat cancer. Quote from her official website. Even though there are so many different forms of cancers, all cancers have one dominant precursor in common: the perception of being out of control. When this is the perception, it creates signals that create exactly that manifestation within the physical body. This is a big deal because we came to this life as conscious creators. It is critical for our well-being to feel as if we can desire something and actually manifest that thing we desire with our free will. It is a huge detriment to our well-being to perceive that we cannot do this. It is to feel prevented from our own expansion. Taking one step further, each part of the body, having its own unique consciousness, correlates to specific things. Many of these things are straightforward, many are not. For example, bones correlate to stability and support, especially with regards to the stability and support provided by the enduring and unshakable honest truth of a person's life at any given moment. Breasts correlate to the way we give our energy to others. Lungs correlate to relationship. They correlate to the way we take in energy and give energy, specifically with regards to other people, and beyond that, with the world itself. If you want to understand each cancer, look for what powerlessness a person feels in their perception of being out of control, relative to the specific aspect of consciousness that correlates to the area of the body that the cancer has begun in and then spread to. What is the perceived threat that this person feels out of control relative to? For example, the root cause of lung cancer would be a feeling of powerlessness within relationships. This is a person who perceives themselves to be totally out of control of the process of free will involved in giving and receiving from others. This is a person who tends to feel isolated, distrusting, end up in love-hate relationships, has difficulty committing to relationships, and therefore, because life is relationships, has difficulty committing to life on Earth itself. Because of this person is in a fight with whether to take in life at all. And to make a long story very, very short, this is a very difficult pattern to change within a person's consciousness because the healing involves experiencing the opposite within relationships. So, this language might be a dog whistle to me because I have been personally entrenched in alternative medicine for about 18 years of my life and I'm thankfully out of it. But I think that it should register with everyone how absolutely diabolical and dangerous this rhetoric is. She is saying that lung cancer is happening to people because they don't want to commit, which implies, and I'm not going to rely on implies, because later in the article, she essentially states this, saying that she would not understand cancer as a disease, but as a survival mechanism. She uses the words, cancer is not a disease, it is a survival mechanism. She is asserting that cancer happens to a specific part of the body, and that specific part of the body is, for some reason, in her philosophy, and you have to go by her philosophy because this isn't generalized philosophy. She's not pulling on generalized Eastern philosophy, generalized Western philosophy. She's not pulling on something. She's saying, if you've got cancer in this part of your body, look at my website and see what part of your body I connect with this random concept, be it relationships or stability or whatever. She's saying, if you have cancer in a part of your body, because this is the ultimate implication, the way to treat that cancer is not to go to a legitimate doctor. It's not to check yourself into a hospital. It's not to do chemotherapy. It's not to do radiation. It's not to talk about experimental treatments with a licensed MD. It's to go to therapy. Maybe with one of her practitioners who's been to a 4-day training. I don't think that I'm being controversial when I say that that is probably not how you cure cancer. And it seems vastly dangerous to me to suggest, because I'm reading this as someone who doesn't have cancer, right? So I'm like, that's fucked up, whatever. But imagine for a minute, place yourself in the shoes. Empathy is hard. Empathy is very hard for me, more hard for me than for other people, but place yourself in the shoes of someone who has been doing chemotherapy for a year and a half, and it didn't work. You're not in remission. You're in a position where you're searching the internet and you're just typing the words cure for cancer, alternative, cure for cancer, new, anything like that. You're typing that into Google because you're willing to do anything that your doctor said didn't exist, because what your doctor said is, I don't have anything for you. Maybe you should try hospice. And so you're just trolling through the internet looking for any possible cure for cancer. And you come across this Teal Swan article, and she has followers, and she has a well-established website which has a paid premium, and you're like, wow, people are paying for this person. And she has this great, it's not a badly written article, I read you some of it. She has this great article that says the way to cure your cancer is this weird therapy. And because of that, you, a terminally ill cancer patient who should be seeking either further alternative treatments that are offered to you by MDs as experimental. You should be seeking what MDs can do for you on the experimental end. That is your option right now. And maybe you should be seeking hospice. That's not a bad option. But what you end up doing with the last 2 months you have is sinking your money, which, by the way, ends up being your children's inheritance, into these crap programs that put you through a fake therapy with practitioners that have been trained for 4 fucking days. And you are creating false memories of more trauma. You are inventing childhood traumas that did not happen, and you believe they are real, in an attempt to cure your incurable cancer. And instead of spending time with your family, or going on one last vacation, or spending time finishing up the project you've always wanted to work on, you are going to a retreat that costs too much money with this woman that does not give a fuck about you aside from your credit card number. And that's what you do with the last 2 months that you have to live, because you think she can cure cancer because she told you she can, and you are desperate for anything. Anyways, guys, sorry that was very long and maybe a little bit too passionate. I'm Steve Muir. The links to my social media, as well as all like content and clips pulled from her website and used in this video, will be available in the description. If you're interested in more content like this, please like and subscribe and maybe leave us a comment. You can also like hit me up about it. I care about this stuff. If you want me to talk about something else related to cults or alternative medicine, I'll do it. Please stop licking me. That's it. Thanks.